Okay, we're ready to add tab number 2, Discrete Probability. So I am going to grab that file and pull it in. Discrete Probability. Now in order to add that tab under here, we're going to go to our main app program, and we're going to add it in. Let's see, here's our apps. So I want to add a brand new line here. And our next app is going to be called Discrete Probability, and it's going to refer to the file b_discrete. Okay, everything looks good there. Let's go to the multi-app. And let's see, is everything okay there? Okay, that all looks good. Why is this underlined right here? Looks like we have to import. So I'm going to put a comma here. From apps, we import a quant, but we also need to import b discrete so that it understands what that is. Okay, so that looks good now. So let's save, and let's refresh this page and see if it adds that second tab. Okay, so now we have that second tab. So if I click discrete, it looks to be working out okay. Let's take a look at the code that's involved in discrete. So we have all of our apps that we import. SciPy does not look like it's being used. NumPy is being used. Math is being used. Okay, it all looks good there. So we have one big function that runs all the way down. We have defining a function called app. Okay, in the sidebar, we're going to put a title called Discrete Probability. There it is. We are going to create choices, 4 of them: discrete, bimodal, geometric, and Poisson. There they are. Let's see. We're going to put a title on the main page called Discrete Probability. That's there. Now, if we choose Discrete Probability, we're going to create 3 columns. 1, 1, and then a double-sized 1. So a single, and then a double-sized column. Down at the bottom, we're going to create 2 columns, each of the same size. But you see how this is gray, but that is white. I don't think we're actually going to use that anything down here. So that never gets used, even though I defined what it was. Probably could get rid of that. Here's how you get rid of stuff. Put a hashtag in front of it, and it just takes it off the list. Doesn't even read that. So I'll just do that. Okay, in the left column, We're going to take that Google spreadsheet URL, we're going to split it, grab the stuff out, and instead of using, we use the bivariate sheet on the last tab. This one we're going to use the discrete tab. So split it out, grab the Google Sheet ID, and now we're going to look at the discrete tab, and then that's the spreadsheet, that's the sheet that we're going to use. Again, there's a refresh button if you want to use that. So now we're down to here. Let's display the data frame from the discrete tab. So there's our information. Looks like just 3 columns, x, probability of x, and then a type of what that row is. So discrete tab, you got your x, your probability of x, and then the type. Owned, rented, let's see, how many people are staying in the house probably? How many people are in the house? Do they own the house or are they renting the house? Something like that. That's the data. So that gets pulled in. The next thing we're going to look at, numeric columns versus non-numeric columns. So this is a numeric column, this is a numeric column, and this is a non-numeric column. So that gets all defined. And then we go to the right column. If it's a non-numeric column, this is some pandas language right here. We're going to take the first column called x. We're going to multiply it by the second column called probability. And then that is going to equal the mean of the column. So this times this, this times this, this times this, all of that gives you the average. So that's the mean. And so that's going to create a brand new column. It won't show on the Google Sheet, but it will show in the background of the program. It adds a brand new column called the mean. And then we're going to group by the type. So everybody that owned, let's look at the mean there and add those all up. All of those that are renting, add up all of the means there, and that'll get you the mean, the overall mean. And then let's see, we're merging by type, and then we're going to do standard deviation. You take the difference between x and what the mean is, you square it, that two stars and a 2, that's squaring, multiply by the probability. That's how we come up with standard deviation. And then we group by the 2 types, and then we're going to squish the 2 things together to become, we take the mean and then the standard deviation and squish those 2 things together. And then let's take a look at what that data frame looks like. That's this right here. The average amount of people that stay in an owned home is a little over 6 with a standard deviation of 1.6. The average amount of people that stay in a rented house, 3.1 with a standard deviation of 1.86. That gives us, that's through here. Now, on the right, the very right column, we're going to show some 2 bar charts. So Panda Express bar chart, the x's along with the probabilities. So 1.03, that's this bar right here. 2 and 0.002, that's this bar right here. When you point at them, it'll show you them. Come on, there you go. And then 3, 4, 5, and then back down again. And here is the rented people. And that is the discrete probability tab. If we go to the binomial tab, it's very similar. For binomial probability, we're going to do 2 columns. Because I didn't define how big they were, they're going to be equal-sized columns. Okay. The first column got a header. We're grabbing out 2 variables. The hit probability, the number of tries, and then the number of hits. The number of hits is grayed out because I never refer to it. I take the probability and the tries. I'm going to use both of those. I turn that into an integer, turn tries into an integer, turn probability into a decimal. As we come down through here, we're going to create this data frame so we can get the probability of each thing going to happen. Probability that you have 0 hits, 16%, 1 hit, 33, da 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 da. The cumulative probability as you add up these probabilities as you go down. So the probability that you'll get 5 hits or less, 99%, and so on. And then we come down and we're actually going to graph that bar chart. Oh, here's my mean and standard deviation too. So let's see, where's mean and standard deviation? Oh, that's at the very bottom. Let's see, 1. So there's my mean, which is BM, and my standard deviation. There's my math. I used that one. Now I could have used NumPy and done square root. It would have done the same thing, but math also does it. And then back to the left column. Here's where I'm making my bar chart. So my hits and my probabilities, that creates this bar chart. And that's the binomial probability tab. Geometric probability looks very similar to that one. It does almost the same things. The formulas are just a little bit different. Geometric probabilities. The formulas that I use to get those geometric probabilities. And then on the right side, the mean and the standard deviation. And then at the bottom, we're graphing the bar chart. So very similar to binomial probability. And Poisson, again, is very similar to those guys. The formulas are just a little different. So take my Poisson probabilities. And on the right side, there's my mean and my standard deviation. And then at the bottom, a bar chart. And that takes us to the end of discrete probability. And I think we'll stop there for today.